Do you remember these words? Because I just went very fast while going through explanation of these words. Do you remember Edgar taking Gloucester to the cliff, Dover?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
remember that?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Gloucester is blind and he wants to die, and he is requesting the man who is. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Gloucester, some of you have not switched on your videos. Still, some girls are left. You can do it for 2 minutes. So Gloucester is blind, right? And he has requested a person to take him to the cliff, and from where he can take a jump and can commit suicide, right? On the way, these two people, they meet Edgar, and Edgar recognizes his father, and he requests that man to leave Gloucester to him, and he says that he will take Gloucester to the mountain cliff. And actually he's not taking him to the cliff, he's taking him to plain land. Okay, because he doesn't want his father to jump and die, so he's taking him to the flat land. And there he is asking Gloucester that from here he can take a jump. And Gloucester faints on that same level ground. And when he wakes up, Edgar pretends that here he has met another man, and Gloucester is very much alive because God wants him to live. Right? So before this incident takes place, Edgar says something to his father. Father does not know this is his son speaking. Right? So these are the words that Edgar tells his father. Okay, ripeness is all. Now this is in Act 2. This is quite early. Just the thing just skipped from my mind. I don't know why, but we'll come to that. Can you see the presentation at present? No, it's not visible. Huh? Let
No,
me come
ma'am.
to.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, it will be. Just wait.
No, ma'am.
Here it is. See, this we had done in the beginning. The few slides are from the very first lecture because I wanted to relate it with that, where all the important characters were introduced to you and what the play is about, the main theme of the play that was told to you. Okay, I think you can see it now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, this was about the play. This was the character map that I had given you, right? Then
Yes.
this was the plot. Okay, these are the themes of the play: family, power, justice, language. Then that gender problem is always there because the remarks made by Lear are very sexist. Then society is reflected, how much loyal the people who are around Lear or around Gloucester, and including the family as well as the people who are working with him. Then compassion, forgiveness. Okay, these are the main themes. Now going further, the characters were introduced to you. Now these are the exact words. This is our today's class. Men must endure. They are going hence, even as they are coming hither. Ripeness is all. Now, this ripeness is all sums up everything that is being done or said in the play. Okay, ripeness is all. This is Act 5. Yes, I was thinking it's in 4. It's 5. Act 5, Scene 2. Edgar is saying, see, away, old man. give me thy hand away. King Lear hath lost, he and his daughter Twain. All these things King Lear has lost, his kingdom and his daughters. Give me thy hand, come on. That means do not die, away. Let's go to King Lear, he's saying. Don't die, away. Old man, his father. He's asking his father, away, give me your hand away. Okay, so King Lear has lost he and his daughter. Give me your hand, come on. Gloucester says, no further, sir. I don't want to go further. I don't want to live. A man may rot even here. This line is very philosophical. According to him, human beings are born here to rot because one day they have to die. Got it? So man, and then he says that it doesn't make any difference where a man rots. Rots means lives. Life is considered as a process of rotting. So a man may rot even here. He did not go to any other place. Right? So Edgar says, what in ill thoughts again? Why these depressing thoughts are coming upon you? Why should you think such ill thoughts? Why should these sad thoughts, sorrowful thoughts come upon you? Don't entertain these sad thoughts in your mind. Okay, then here are these words which we have to discuss. Men must endure. This is the philosophy that he gives. Men must endure. They are going hence even as they are coming hither. They are going there, T-H-E-R-E, hence is there, T-H-E-R-E, right? Even as they are coming hither, hither is here. This process of coming into this world and leaving this world, this goes on. Men must endure it. Men must tolerate it with patience. Ripeness is all. Here ripeness means it's just like a fruit. A fruit has its own life. It's a flower, then it becomes a fruit, and this fruit is unripe in the beginning. It's green, it's not colored, and gradually there's no juice in it, and gradually as it ripens, it becomes softer. It becomes more colorful, it becomes more juicy. Yes.
Ma'am, basically they are connecting it with life cycle.
Yes, he's talking about life cycle, yes. Okay, so ripeness is all. The fruit becomes juicy only after it has gained some experience, after it has lived for a while. Come on, Gloucester, and that's true too. He says, okay, what you are saying is also true. So men must endure. So these lines are wherever in life, in different circumstances that we have to go through. These lines give answer to all these questions. Why this human struggle? In life, all humans have to struggle. They have to fight for their survival, and there are so many ups and downs that come in life. Okay, so these lines, they become very precious then, of King Lear. And these words are spoken by Edgar. Men must endure, they are going hence even as they are coming hither. Ripeness is all. Come on. Okay.
Yes,
Ma'am, how does these lines sum up everything in the play? You said.
Yeah, we will discuss this how.
Okay.
We are just gradually proceeding towards it.
Okay, ma'am.
So coming hither is birth. Going hence is death. We come in this world. You know, in one more, there's another play of Shakespeare where he says that life is a walking shadow. You know? that life is a walking shadow that shreds and frets an hour on the stage and then is heard no more. These are the lines in one of the plays of Shakespeare. Life is a walking shadow, there he says. It's just a shadow. That means shadow is not a real thing. You know, you can relate these lines of Shakespeare with our Hindu philosophy as well, where we say that Jeevan Maya hai. Right? So life's a walking shadow in that play, he says. Life's a walking shadow, a poor player. This is also, he says, that life is a walking shadow, a poor player that shreds and frets an hour on the stage. Life is so short, just an hour. And here in this, on this earth, we have come to play, to do a drama. Okay, and that shreds and frets, just moves about and does something which is all irrelevant if you see on a larger canvas, because life is not from birth to death itself, right? That shreds and frets an hour on the stage and then is heard no more, and then finally man dies and no one hears about him. This is what he says in some other play. You can find out these lines. So this is what here it is said. Coming hither here means birth, and going hence means death. These are the two experiences that we human must undergo. Each and every, whether he's a king, whether he's a beggar, whether men or women, right? Tree, animals, not only humans, here it's humans, as he says, but you know, it stands for anything that has life has to go through two experiences, that is birth and death, irrespective of caste, color, creed, money, all have to go through birth and death. Got it? There is no choice. They must be endured. Endured means with
Able
patience.
to tolerate.
Yes, with full patience, with full strength, we have to, strength is also required. We have to, with full courage, it has to be endured. There is no choice. Birth gives pain, death gives pain, and both have to be endured. And everything that comes in between these two, starting point and end point. Then the 9-month journey in the womb, that is also a life of an embryo, life of 9 months. After that, new one is born, right? So this 9-month journey in the womb brings infant to the stage of ripeness, when that embryo is ripe. Okay, when that embryo is ripe, full fruit is born, it is ripe. In the similar way, towards the death, whatever one has endured in life, that all these experiences, they make a person ripe. Okay, so that
Ma'am, ripe means mature.
yeah, yes, got it. Mature is a term that when we use, it's a general term, and it can be for anything. You know, you gain maturity for dealing with the people. It's you know, experience is a very general term, so I
Yes, ma'am.
called it experience. But yes, of course, you can say maturity also.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
So
In a way, it means, ma'am, Shobna, it means like growing up, like a
it's
fruit
growing up.
grows.
Yeah, ripeness from the trial of birth. Trial means it's a struggle. Birth is also, a child has to struggle in order to come to this world. Okay, there the infant, in order to be born, also has to struggle. He has to endure that pain. Okay, it is not that easy, in an easy way birth takes place. Child has to fight in order to come to this world. Trial of birth. And then an exit from the pre-existing state, that is the death of an embryo, in a way you may say, that the first state, the state of being an embryo, that ends there, and then an infant is born. In the womb, it is called embryo. Then embryo matures, it becomes ripe, and then it has to struggle in order to, that is the end point of embryo and the birth of the infant. Then the decades-long journey of life shapes human for the moment of going hence. A man, whole of his life, he prepares for his death. The decade-long journey of life. The man may live for 50 years, 100 years, or whatever his life is, whatever his longevity is, right? It shapes the person for death. What way he goes, how mature he is on his death. Is he really ripe? Death is departing. This does not mean that each and every person is ripe on his death. Death is departing from life to that mysterious void beyond death. What happens after death? We humans, we do not know. It is mysterious to us. We know that there is some kind of emptiness, void. After death, there is emptiness, and this emptiness is mysterious. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
It will be more
Yes, ma'am.
clear as we progress. Then through the harrowing experience, you know how harrowing experiences Gloucester has, or Lear has. He's blinded, so much of violence takes place. Lear has to leave his kingship, he has to face the storms. He walks about naked and with his those flowers, crown made of those weeds on his head, right? So these harrowing experiences, through these experiences, what is happening? The soul is maturing, both of Gloucester and Lear. See how Gloucester, if you remember the first scene of the play itself, Act 1, when Gloucester is just proudly declaring that Edmund is his illegitimate son, and how he enjoyed having a physical relationship with that woman. Okay, from that kind of arrogance and pride to his becoming blind and wishing to die, feeling that he has nothing in this world for him. So what led him to that stage? These harrowing experiences, what his sons did to him. Okay, so the harrowing experiences of Gloucester, when he feels that his son, whom he had trusted so much, Edmund, illegitimate son, had just conspired, and he took his legitimate son to be the one who is his own rival. He misunderstood his son, Edgar. So all these harrowing experiences, and whatever happened to Lear also, because he was a good friend of Lear. And same stands for Lear also. A person who was, the enormous power that he had. Okay, and his large kingdom, so many people all around him. So that kind of life that he has had, the power, status, wealth, so many responsibilities, lives depending on him. Okay, so after that, what has happened, that how he became homeless, shelterless. Who could have imagined the king to be shelterless? And that too when physically he has become so weak. And that too by his own children. And that too by daughters who are regarded to be more emotional. Right? So through these experiences, what had happened? Their soul matures. And as the soul matures, consciousness develops. Consciousness means awareness. Awareness of what? Of understanding life, that life is not as it appears to be. You have to find meanings in life. Life appeared to be very glittering, very, rich, surrounded by people and all wealth. But
Fancy and
It's fancy, yes, and then it goes off. What made it all things go and that darkness prevails everywhere? Defeat comes upon them. They feel so powerless and so helpless, right? So awareness for this develops. And then the conclusion that comes, these four, that rightness is a spiritual state. It is the soul that rights. Is a spiritual stage which is reached through physical and emotional suffering. Had they not suffered, they would not have got enlightened. They would not have got this understanding of the world, of the relationships, of human nature. They would not have recognized their own self, what we are. We do not know that under what circumstances, because in life we may have to go to we may have to undergo so many different kind of circumstances, but today we do not know how we would respond to those circumstances. Do we have courage to face it? Do we not have? Are we capable of taking right decisions at right time, at right place? All these three things should be there: right time, place. Okay. So do we have that kind of capacity? Do we have that clarity of mind? In case of King Lear, what has happened? His clarity of mind was hampered by his ego. When he asked his daughters, how much you love me, his clarity of mind was affected by ego, because his ego was there between the daughters and himself. And daughters' answers should satisfy ego, not himself. If his ego is satisfied, then he says okay. If his ego is not satisfied, he is angered. He himself is not trying to understand those answers. He's not conscious about that. It is his ego that listens to the answers of his daughters. He himself does not listen to these answers. He does not understand these answers, these replies that the daughters gave.
He was arrogant. He was arrogant.
He was arrogant, and his ego was so ego-centered that he himself was not sitting at that time. His conscious state was not sitting. He was not aware.
And although he was 80 years old, even then.
Yeah, and when you are asking some question to any person, you have to be open-minded. Open-minded means you have to listen to what the person is saying. It is not that I have set an answer within myself and then I'm asking you a question, and if you don't give that same answer, I say you are wrong, because I have just built up constructed an answer in my own mind.
Ma'am, means he was quite rigid in his decisions and thoughts.
Yes, very rigid.
One needs to be more flexible.
One needs to be flexible. One has to have an open mind in order to listen to what other person is saying. But what he is doing, he has made up the answer that the answer of the daughter should be that I love you the most. This answer he has prepared within his own mind. And whoever will give that answer is the right answer. Otherwise, it's the wrong answer. With an open mind, he would not think that what are the meanings beyond these words, behind these words. Right? So that means he is not ripe, he is not mature enough. A mature mind would, or the experienced mind would wait. Even if such a question is being asked, then he would wait for the answers. He would not prepare the answer before time in his own mind. But it is his ego. And see what happens with the daughters also. Cordelia, though she is young, but we can say that she has that kind of ripeness. Now we shall talk about Cordelia later, but let's come to Gloucester, because at present we are just analyzing Lear and Gloucester. Gloucester had to undergo physical blindness and lose all his status to attain ripeness. See, with his eyes he could never recognize that Edgar cares for his father. And it is Edmund that who wants to deceive his own father. With his open eyes, with his healthy eyes, Gloucester could not see that. But in his blindness, he was able to see it. So that means that eyes see only what is physically visible to the eyes. Eyes are just sense organs. But actually, who sees it, the things? It is mind who sees the things. It is our, or rather than mind, we can replace mind with consciousness. It is consciousness that sees the things. That is awareness that sees the things. Eyes are just sense organs. And with sense organs, you cannot understand the true nature of things. True nature of things can be understood only by our consciousness. And
ma'am, that's why ma'am,
yes.
Shaurya hai.
Yes.
Ma'am, that's why when we experience any situation, then we start thinking from a conscious. Like we start being conscious.
Yes. Yes, and at the same time, we are not, we do not have preconceived notions. If you have preconceived notions, some beliefs will not let you let you work with your consciousness. You can work with your consciousness only when you don't have any beliefs.
Ma'am, when you have preconceived notions, you see what you want to see, what you have already thought about that thing.
Yes. So Lear has preconceived notions because he is a man of ego. And it is ego that blinds him.
Yes, ma'am.
And same is the case with Gloucester. It is ego that had blinded him. So these physical eyes were not able to see that which of his children cared for him, who cared for him, and who was ready to deceive him in his old age. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So and when they have when these physical when eyes are gone, when home is gone, when mind has become insane, even mind has become insane, case of Lear, then comes ripeness. So consciousness is something which is beyond mind also, you may say. It is not just sense organs. Whatever sense organs are seeing, mind interprets it. Okay, but even those meanings are not clear, because these meanings of life are being cleared, they gain clarity only with consciousness. So this can be easily, related with as you go in higher classes, and if you want to do any research and everything, then in that case you can even, relate it with Hindu philosophy. This is what somewhere, Lear seems to be saying. So many research papers also, if you find on internet, you will get how this Lear can be related with Indian philosophy. Okay, now the third point. His journey is a mirror for Lear's progression through abdication, abandonment, and mental torture. Gloucester and Lear, they are going together. Their progression is just like it's a mirror image. Leaving, denying, and all the mental torture that they have to go through. It is not only that Lear reconciles with Cordelia, he even reconciles with himself. He meets himself. The ego has created gap between King Lear and his own self, his own awareness, his own consciousness. Lear himself, he has been such a strong king. He had ruled for so many years, and he is a mature person. Yet he commits such a mistake in his life.
Blind.
Yeah, being blinded by his own children. Just see the person who has won so many wars and who has ruled the entire kingdom for so many years. He is being ill-treated, deceived betrayed by his own children. How could daughters do that to a father? And that to father who is so old, who does not have a companion, and who has given his entire kingdom to his daughters. Can you imagine that? Yes.
Ma'am, is this the subplot of this drama?
Gloucester is the subplot. This is the main.
Gloucester and Lear both, like, this
Lear,
is what the...
Lear is the main plot. Gloucester's story is a subplot, but then their journey, as they go together, they are pointing to the same theme, same point, that ripeness is all.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So ripeness marks an idealized state of closure of life. When life is at the closure, when life is close to death. Death gives closure to the life, but life will get a peaceful closure only when you meet death with ripeness. And Lear meets death with ripeness, Gloucester meets death with ripeness. That is the idealized state of closure. Goneril's is not an idealized state of closure. Regan's is not an idealized state of closure. These are all petty beings who have betrayed their father. They are true to none. See the basic nature of a human being. One who is true to one will be true to everyone, because honesty is there in the veins of that person, in the innate nature of that person is honest. For example, in case of Edgar, you see,
Cordelia.
or in case of Cordelia, you see.
Yes, ma'am.
But if Cordelia is a very loyal and very dedicated daughter, she is, as a wife also, she is so dedicated. But in case of Goneril and Regan, they are true to none. They betrayed their father. They betrayed their husband. They betrayed each other. So basically, they are not related to anyone. So it is these people who do not get proper closure of life because they have not reached that. Ripeness is too far from them.
Ma'am, can we say that Gloucester also reached ripeness?
Yes, yes, they both, Lear and Gloucester.
Ma'am, because he realized that Edgar is Edgar is the better son, and he didn't want to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Edgar,
whichever D may be silent also, because both ways it is pronounced. Okay. Now, so man has to endure both kinds of people. You see, there are saints in the play, there are sinners in the play. Some people are innately evil. This is what Shakespeare has shown.
Yes, ma'am.
Like Gunnar, for Edgar, you can say that maybe his nature may be affected by the world, by the people of the world, who did not, who always treated him as a bastard son. But in case of Goneril and Regan, they are not illegitimate daughters. Okay, so but some people, they are innately, they they won't compromise, and they are so self-centered. That is there in their innate nature. They would not think about other people's emotions. They just take they think about self-advancement, and as in the end of the play, you see, there's nothing like self-advancement.
Ma'am, self-advancement means what?
To be the queen. This was their dreams. But could they be the queen for long?
No.
That's it. Cordelia never wanted to be the queen. But she became queen in an instant. Because it is she who thinks about other people. Right.
Okay, ma'am. So self-advancement is like greed to become.
Yeah, when self-advancement is not bad if a person is not becoming,
self-centered and
self-centered.
Selfish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, self-advancement in positive direction is something else, and in a wrong direction, it is something else.
Yeah. That way we may say. So when he has a clear vision of things as they really are, and not just as he would like them to be, he is right. This is what King Lear did. He kept his ego between himself and the person whom he interacted with. So he doesn't have clear vision. So to understand life, he must attain knowledge of all this. Man has to attain all. He means man. Man must attain knowledge of what? That what is rightness. And for rightness, you need clear vision. No preconceived notions, no ego. So the only way to do it by experience, by suffering, endurance. Man has to, this is the part of life, man has to undergo sufferings and endurance at times and show endurance. A life would not always be a bed of roses. So Lear's tragedy is caused by insufficient knowledge. He's unripe. So it is either you may say he has not ripened enough, or that he is overripe. Overripe means when the fruit becomes overripe, what happens? It loses its strength. It bursts out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in his old age, he has become overripe in that way that he cannot analyze the things. He does not have strength to analyze the things. He's so weak that he does not want to see things clearly. He wants to stay under this illusion that still people are going to surround him and flatter him. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, I couldn't understand the difference between, what is overripe? Does it mean that, what does it mean?
A person losing capacity to analyze the things as they are.
Okay.
A person with weak mind will have preconceived notions.
Okay.
And will lose strength or courage to accept the things as they are.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes?
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am? Ma'am, in the end, the King Lear, when got reality check, so we can say he is mature or he is ripe.
Yes. That is ripeness he has achieved through sufferings. Right? And now see Cordelia. How ripe she is in the beginning when the king says so tender yet so what does he say? The word I have it has slipped from my mind.
So young and yet so stiff. So young and yet so stiff.
Is it stiff or some other words he has used? He has used some other word. Yeah, that term is missing. But yes, he means that you're so young and so stone-hearted. Right. So, but she is so ripe that she sees the clear picture that she will be married.
So young and so sorry, ma'am. So young and so untender. Maybe that.
And so untender, yes. Untender. This is the word he says. Yes. So stone-hearted. So hard you are. Hard enough to crack. This is what he says. But that is her ripeness. That is her strength. To see the things as they are. And then to convey it in a plain way. I love you. but I have to share this love with my husband too. She clearly states that. And that is why she says nothing. Have you got something to say? Nothing, my lord.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Now, the fool perceives the innate disease. Just you see, Cordelia, Kent and Fool. The inner ripeness of Cordelia, Kent and Fool are juxtaposed to the lack of mellowness in Lear. This is the wrong step that he is taking, and then he is banished, but he does not surrender before King Lear. Right? Fool is the wisest person in the play. And he also points out to the mistakes of King Lear. He is the one who can understand the deceits of Goneril and Regan, and he is the one who recognizes the true merits of Cordelia. Her diabolic nature, just like a scorpion, ready to sting, right? So Goneril, she unfolds her diabolic nature. It unfolds in Act 1. A scorpion can never leave its basic nature. Its nature is to sting, to pass the poison. So is Goneril. So it is the beginning of his inner journey from the state of ignorance. Then passion is there in both Gloucester and Lear, and then that impulsive is there in the state of impulsiveness. He has banished Cordelia.
Ma'am, what is impulsiveness?
Not thinking before deciding anything.
Okay.
Right? In an impulse, you just pass some decision point. Yeah. So towards a state of higher realization. First, they are ignorant. Then they are passionate. They are too impulsive. And from this stage, that is so unripe they are, from that stage they go to higher realization. And it dawns on Lear the difference between Cordelia's genuine nothingness and the empty platitudes, whatever the daughters are saying. Okay. So, oh, most small fault, how ugly didst thou in Cordelia show? He himself says that I have committed such a fault. It's so ugly in the way I treated Cordelia. I should not have done this to Cordelia.
Ma'am, but what is like a small fault?
Small fault, just a silly question that he is asking. How much do you love me? Such a silly question. Because it hadn't been silly if it has been just with small young children, you're asking such a question, but it is in court he is asking, before dividing his kingdom he is asking. So this is such a silly question.
Yes,
right? On the basis of such question, such a large decision should not be taken. So serious decision, yeah. Okay, so this is what we have done today. We discussed just 3 words. Ripeness is all. Ma'am,
and this last point, how ugly did thou Cordelia?
This fault seemed so ugly in Cordelia. Means the whole scene became so ugly with this simple, small question. Such a silly question, and see the ugliness that it created.
Okay, ma'am.
Right? So, this is what I wanted to share with you today. Ripeness is all. Men must endure. Coming hither.
And going hence.
Yeah. And ripeness. Come on. This is what?
Ma'am, the most small fault, how ugly this thou in Cordelia show. I remember King Lear was saying this to Goneril, so it might mean that he was saying that as compared to what you did, Cordelia's fault was very small, and you have shown me what Cordelia did wasn't as ugly as...
Cordelia has no fault.
Sorry, ma'am?
Cordelia, there's no fault in Cordelia.
So, ma'am.
So the fault has been committed by King Lear.
Okay, okay. So here small fault means what he had done of
Yeah.
asking the question. Okay, okay. Okay. I thought he was
How ugly did you in Cordelia show?
Hmm.
You means he whom is this you addressed to? Oh, most small fault. He's addressing his fault. Oh,
Okay.
most small fault. How ugly did thou in Cordelia show?
Okay, okay. Okay, ma'am.
So
Understood.
small fault is personified.
Okay,
Small
ma'am.
fault is
Okay.
treated as a person. That you are such a small fault, but you showed up in such an ugly way in Cordelia.
You showed me Cordelia in such a flawed manner. He's saying
In a flawed manner, yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so how do you think about these three words? Aren't they very deep and full of meaning?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So here we conclude our lecture today. And the next
Excuse me,
class.
ma'am.
Yes.
I'm Tanishka Badharia this side.
Yes,
Ma'am, I
ma'am.
have a doubt from the drama. Ma'am, in the last war scene, when there is a fight between Kingdom of France and Britain, why did the King of France did not participate in that war?
See, this question is not at all relevant, Tanishka, because Shakespeare has not mentioned it.
Yes, ma'am, that's what. But
He is a king, and we can just assume that he must have been involved in so many places. So he would have thought that his wife is capable enough for that. And this is how Shakespeare shows women to be so strong. That is the strength of Cordelia. It is that he had to return. If you have read the play in some way, it is mentioned that he had to return. He was there, he
yes.
had to return, and then it is Cordelia who takes the lead. Okay,
And ma'am, what happens to the King of Cornwall?
King of
Duke
died.
of Cornwall. Duke of Cornwall. Yeah, he dies.
He dies.
He
He
still
dies early.
it is only Albany and Edgar
Edgar
and Kent.
Edmund.
and Kent.
Left. These three were left.
These three
alive.
were alive.
They survived, yes. So such an ugly way, this small fault showed that three have survived because King Lear was not ripe enough. Gloucester was not ripe enough.
Then ma'am, Kent even leaves, like he says that I am after my master, so I'll also leave.
Yeah, he doesn't take the kingdom when he is given. He's offered that he can be the king now, but he doesn't accept it. Kingship. He leaves
Then
the place.
Edgar becomes the king.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay
And
then.
ma'am,
Yes,
one
ma'am.
more thing, ma'am. From tomorrow, can you take the class from 12 o'clock?
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay then. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Bye. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.